What's up YouTube? Demi here with an off-meta build. So instead of a crunchy monk with the screen-wide Herald of Ice Thunder Shatters, or instead of like a spark screen-wide kill the whole screen all the time and then one-shot bosses build, what if instead I introduced to you a Gas Arrow Pathfinder that does neither of those things and is not good at anything? I made this character over the past day or two. Havoc helped level me really fast for the campaign because that is terrible, but this is what we came up with. It's not the best. It's definitely one of the builds of all time, but it can clear tier 15 maps on a pretty low budget. The concept is you run around, you shoot a little toot arrow, people stand in that cloud, and as they stand in the cloud, they gain poison stacks up to a cap of, I believe, 10 with Pathfinder ascendancy and all of our skill tree and gear. It's pretty chill. You just kind of walk around, shoot every once in a while, and things die. Not much else to it. I'm evasion based with CI, so I'm immune to chaos damage. I evade most attacks, and we're pretty quick movement speed wise, so you can just kind of keep running around. If we do get hit, we have Grim Feast doubling our energy shield most of the time, and then we have Ghost Shrouds, which refund us energy shield when we do get hit. I'm getting like 1,000 ES back anytime I get hit if I have a Ghost Shroud, because I have 20k evasion and I get 5% back on hit, you know? But as you can see, the kill speed is not super fast, so you run the danger of being overwhelmed. Also, if there's burning ground, which there was there, your poison clouds just get evaporated, so you need a backup skill. Oh god, I'm ignited. You need a backup skill, which is why I have poison burst arrow instead of gas arrow sometimes. I'm trying to find the boss real quick so I can show you the single target DPS and combination, or lack thereof, however you want to say it. Alright, boss man. So you drop your totem thingy, you drop your vines, you curse it, you poison arrow it, and as you can see, it's just sitting there getting poisoned more and more and more and more and more, and getting slowed to hell. And look at that damage. That's like, I don't know, 20k DPS? Maybe? Yeah, it's ramping. As long as you keep them cursed, keep them slowed, keep your poison clouds out, you can kind of just run around in circles around most bosses and they don't really do anything to you. Yeah, I try to keep the poison, or sorry, the vine arrows down to keep them nice and slow so you can, you know, dodge a bit better. I'm not keeping them cursed very well. I also have a mana flask from like level 30 because I never picked one up during the campaign, so my mana regen is abysmal. Yeah, overall, it's pretty chill. It feels like I'm playing an extremely weak character, which I am, but yeah, let's go talk about it. So you can make this if you want, or don't. I would recommend probably not doing this, but maybe it'll get buffed later. You never know. Alright, so ascendancy. Pathfinder, mainly because it's the only ascendancy with anything poison related, and because of this node, doubles the number of your poisons on targets, which instead of 4 to 5, you can have 8 to 10. Which is huge. It's almost double your damage. It's great. This just gives you like Herald of Plague, or Herald of, yeah, Plague. It just spreads your poisons, basically. Your strongest poison spreads the things around it. So you only really need to shoot once and then the whole back dies. You get 6 skill points for free, and then you get less movement speed penalty from using skills while moving, which is all the time since you're just running and shooting every once in a while. Other parts of the skill tree, it's mostly just poison and jewel sockets and like some bow damage stuff. So we got movement speed evasion, attack damage, skill effect duration. We got some area for attacks, so our cloud's a little bit bigger. Bonuses from gained from equipped quiver. This is 60% bonuses, so if you have like good quiver, you can get 60% more out of that quiver, so this is huge. We got another poison here, and then we got poison duration, because a lot of these nodes cut your duration of your poison, so you want some duration to help scale it back. Movement speed evasion, jewel socket. We'll go over the jewels in a sec. I'm leveling still, so I'm only level 90, so I'm going to get these on 91 and 92 for another 65% evasion. But I'm sitting at 88% chance to dodge right now, so maybe if you have enough evasion and good enough gear, you could instead grab acrobatics here. It cuts your evasion by 70%, but you can evade all hits, so that includes spells and AoEs and stuff, instead of just being auto attacks, ranged and melee attacks. But this is pretty good if you have enough evasion. I don't think I have enough yet, though. Other skills, we got evasion ES, we got stun threshold, movement speed, evasion ES, attack damage while on full life, which is 100% of the time because we're CI. Jewel socket, evasion ES, and then energy shield per evasion on body armor. We get another poison here, and then 100% poison duration here, because we're always inflicting poison on everything all the time. And another jewel socket, and another jewel socket, and some more evasion ES, and a jewel socket, and chaos inoculation. Maximum life becomes 1 immune to chaos damage, so you don't have to worry about chaos res, you don't have to worry about standing in degens, you can just kind of, the only degen you care about is burning ground, basically, which you shouldn't be running anyway, because it deletes your glass clouds, so. Jewels, the most important stat on jewels is damaging ailments deal damage faster. I believe that's the only really multiplier here for your damage. But every other thing that scales your damage is like poison magnitude, ailment, damaging ailment magnitude, attack damage, physical damage, damage with bows. Oh god, there's so many things. Do I have other things that... you can get energy shield here. You can get curse effect. You can get wither effect. Faster start of energy shield recharge is kind of nice. Curse duration's kind of nice. You need some mana on kill, so if you can't get it on jewels, you can actually grab the right here. 2% of mana on kill for 2 points as well. But you can get 1 to 2% of mana on kill with sapphires, so you can get a couple of those. You should be fine on mana, even though our mana costs are 300, 250, 461, 152, and 131. They're dumb. Mana costs go crazy with this character. So, gear-wise, you want a high physical DPS bow. Elemental damage does nothing for us. So you just want a bow that has high phys DPS with extra arrows, ideally. 1 or 2 is great, but if you don't have any, it really doesn't matter, because the way the gas cloud works is when they're standing in the glass cloud, they get stacks of poison. So like, all you do is if you shoot 2 of them, you're stacking it twice as fast. But it ramps pretty quickly as long as they're in this massive AoE, so like it's not super important to not have the plus arrow. Just go for like a 250, 300 DPS or higher bow. If you can get plus projectile skills as much as possible, you can get up to 5 on your bow. So that's good. I have 4. It's good enough. You want mana on kill as your other suffix ideally, or the arrow that we've talked about, arrows. I think you can get up to 3 arrows, 4 arrows on a bow, but I just have +1. Quiver, because of that quiver skill we talked about, or quiver nodes, you get 60% bonuses from your quiver. So the higher damage out of your quiver you can get, the better. You want high flat physical damage because that scales the physical DPS of your bow. You want damage with bow skills because that scales your dot. And then you want +2 projectile skills, and then as much like mana per kill, dex as you can. The other prefix doesn't really matter because, again, elemental damage to attacks does nothing for us. So I just have a little bit of accuracy, which is irrelevant because the poison cloud doesn't care about accuracy. And then I have some dex. Helmet, evasion ES with a bunch of mana, and then stats resist if you need them. You're going to need like 200 int and 200 dex basically to use high level gems. This is 191 dex. This is 191 int. You need a bunch. You also need a teeny little bit of strength just so you're going to use some red gems. I have a little bit of strength somewhere, I think, maybe. Yeah, 15 strength, or 16 strength is all I have on my gear. But that just allows you to use a couple of red gems. I think you only need like 10, so you could just grab some here and you'd be fine. Other slots. Amulet or chest, you need 30 spirit to be able to run all the auras I'm getting. So you have 100 base from your campaign. If you don't have 100, you missed a reward somewhere in the campaign. Go back and get it. But yeah, 30 anywhere on your chest or your amulet will be enough to give you the auras. So I have +3 projectile skills and 30 spirit on my amulet. That's basically it. Mana regen's great. % evasion, % energy shield, rarity if you want it. Those are all great things. My amulet is spirit projectile skills will be expensive on the amulet. So if you want a cheap amulet, just go for the projectile skills and then like some other useful stats. And then get the spirit on your chest piece instead. Probably be a lot cheaper. But yeah, you can get +2 here, +2 here, +5 here. So that's a total of +10 potentially to your level of your bow skills or projectile skills, which is a huge amount of damage. So yeah. Rings. Again, flat physical to attack's pretty important, because that's the only way you can really scale the base damage of your bow. Chaos damage doesn't scale the gas cloud for some reason. I tried, it didn't work. You can get evasion rating as a prefix, you can get mana as a prefix, you can get resistances, stats, so dex, int, mana regen, rarity if you want it. These rings were super cheap because they don't have life, and they don't have chaos res, so they're just pretty free. The best rings would be breach rings with tier 1 flat physical, because then you could put 50% attack modifier on them and get that to be like 50% more effective. Mine are just ass because my budget for this whole character was like 2 divines. I think the bow was like 1 divine and the rest of this gear was relatively cheap. Maybe less. I think it was like 60x maybe. But yeah. Boots, movement speed, resist, int, dex if you need it. Mana helps as well, so you have a bigger mana pool. Belt, resists, charm slots. Ideally get at least +1 charm slots, so you can run a freeze charm and a stun charm. If you have +2 charm slots, you can throw in a rarity charm or like an ignite charm, I guess. Those are all useful, but you don't really need +3. Mana is great, charm effect duration is great, reduced charm charges used is great, any of those stats. Armor a little bit helps here too if you want it. You can get like 300 armor from a belt, not super important. Gloves, the only unique we're using is Snake Bite. This gives you an additional poison, which is then doubled by your Pathfinder ascendancy, so these are required. They're also free, so like you just, grab some. I have slow magnitude corruption, which is like fine. It just means that my vine arrow slows them a bit harder, which is cool. Life Flask, pointless, you never use it. Mana Flask, probably get one that's, good and on level and not level 30. It does literally nothing for me. I just haven't found one that's a drop. I think my loot filter hides off last though, so that would explain why. Gem links. So, Gas Arrow. I have a level 29 Gas Arrow because I'm missing one here. You could get level 30. Maybe even level 31 if you throw in a Chaos +1 gem level thingy. But Gas Arrow. Oops. Gas Arrow's damage is 13.4k, and if you scale the physical damage, for example, if I take out this physical damage, it goes down. So all you need to do is scale the base damage into gem levels. I have it linked to Deadly Poison for more poison damage, Heft for more initial damage, which scales the poison damage, and then I have +1 poison here, which is doubled by my Pathfinder ascendancy. We've said this a million times. Conk Effect for 40% more damage, which does scale the damage. And then I also link to Momentum, because you can move while shooting. So if you move at least 2 meters during a use, the rest of that use, which is the Poison Cloud, deals 40% more damage. And you can see that happening when you shoot. That green suck in animation that happens while you're running forward. That's momentum proccing as far as I know. So that allows you to do 40% more damage with the dot, since you don't care about the upfront DPS because it's 6k and it's kind of useless. But yeah, the cloud will detonate if hit by a detonator or an ignited enemy touches it. So don't play with teammates that have fire damage. Don't do maps with burning ground. Some rares have burning on them by default. If you find one of those, you need to use your second skill, which is called Poison Burst Arrow. It's the same concept. Instead of a dot though, instead of a cloud, sorry, it just does a poison hit. So if I shoot this wall, for example, that big AoE, oh, I guess this isn't actually a wall. This is a wall. There's 2 of them for my +2 arrows, so it deals 2 poison stacks, and it does the same-ish damage as your regular cloud does. But you have to shoot it more often because it's only hitting once instead of sitting in a cloud and stacking more and more poison. So it's kind of annoying to use, but you'll only use it against rares that are burning all of your clouds or on maps where you can't do any poison anyway because of the burning ground. I have that linked to more attack speed, less cost, so you can spam it, and then more damage with hits against enemies that are on low life. I think this scales it. If it doesn't, then just use +1 chaos gems or something. And then I have more attack damage to enemies within 1 meter of you. Because of my +2 arrows, or +1 arrow, sorry, I shoot 2 arrows, which means if you're aiming directly at something, you can actually shoot to either side of it, which is really, really annoying. So you tend to just need to get up in their face and do this. So I just have it linked to close effect damage, basically. If you have 3 arrows, though, you would always hit with the arrow in the middle, so you wouldn't miss like I do. But I don't have that, so I'm unlucky in that regard. And then for my Wither application, Wither is a debuff that gives 5% increased damage taken, chaos damage taken, up to 10 stacks. So that's 50% increased chaos damage taken, which is a 50% more multiplier. So Dark Effigy's quality gives it Wither on hit, and then I have it linked to Wither for even more Wither on hit, and then I have it giving it more cast speed so that I can cast it faster, but also the totem itself casts faster. It just kind of vomits little purple projectiles at anything that's affected by dot. So when you're doing a boss fight, you keep this up, it shoots a bunch of shit at it, it stacks 10 wither stacks on the enemy, and then they 50% more damage. Great, right? Next is Withering Presence. If you don't have that 30 spirit we talked about, you could drop this. You have Wither from this if you need it. This is just like an AoE around you Wither. Every second and a half, it applies a Wither stack to things around you, which is again that 5% plus 5% increased damage taken to cast damage. That helps. Not important. You could drop this if you don't have a spirit thing. That's fine. Wind Dancer. This gives you more evasion per stage up to 4 stages, so that's like 80% more evasion basically. And then if you get hit by a melee attack, it consumes the buffs and knocks anything back around you. Which is just like a little bit of a defensive mechanic. We mostly just use it for the evasion buff, but I also have it linked to Blind on hit and Maim on hit. Blind makes them have less chance to hit you again. Maim makes them 30% slower, I think. Yeah, 30% slower, so it makes it harder for them to get back to melee you again, basically. It's just a defensive aura. It's great. Ghost Dance, basically another defensive aura. You get Ghost Shrouds every second or so, and each time you get hit, it consumes a Ghost Shroud to recover energy shield equal to 5% of your evasion. I have 20,000 evasion, so that's 1,000 evasion instantly. Or sorry, 1,000 energy shield back as soon as I get hit, and I have 5 stacks. So that's up to 5,000 energy shield, like, defensively. If as long as I don't get one shot, I get 5 hits of 1,000 ES recovered, which is great. I have linked to less skill effect duration so that the time between gaining the shrouds is less. Although it does not appear to change. It's supposed to, so maybe that doesn't do anything, but it lets me link it, so I don't know, you know. And then Grim Feast, you use this on every single energy shield build. When you kill things, there's a 50% chance that they drop a Grim Remnant, which is like a little white floating thing on the ground. You pick that up, you get instant ES back, so it's kind of like ES Leech, and it allows you to double your energy shield, so I usually have about 4.1k running around in maps. If you got better gear, you could probably get like 10k ES while running around in maps, but my gear is ass, so it's up to you if you want to do that. But yeah, I think that's everything. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you want to see me play other weird builds, feel free to check out my stream. It's linked in the description. This build, am I going to keep investing into it? I kind of want to push the scaling a bit farther. I need to figure out if there's more ways to actually scale the dot, because currently it just seems that gem levels and base damage of the bow is all that matters. So maybe I'll just grab some really nice breach rings, a really nice quiver, and maybe a better bow with +5 projectile skills, and then of course incrementally upgrade all of my other gear so that my energy shield is a bit higher. But it's fine. It can clear all maps. I don't think it can do all content. Pinnacle bosses, probably not. It would take you ages, but mapping, sure, mapping's fine. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next video, and that'll be me out.